Welcome to Startin' Some Ripples. We believe that everyday stories hold golden nuggets of perseverance and personal growth from humans just like you and me. I'm your host, Heather Wild, an educator, author, speaker, and trauma survivor. Through real stories and honest conversations, we plan to offer you tools for inspiration, reflection, and healing. Imagine a space that embraces vulnerability and connection, celebrating both the big milestones and the small victories. A place where everyone feels seen, heard, and valued in a supporting community. Maybe together, we can make life a little more understandable, more bearable, maybe even a little more joyful. You can expect real people with real stories, and maybe yours will join the ripples that turn into waves of change and magic. Here we go. Hello, and this is Heather Wild. Welcome to the Startin' Some Ripples podcast. Today is July 14th of the year 2025, and kind of seems full circle. Must be about 6, 7, 8 months. Wow. Oh my gosh. I might be going into 8, 9 months since I started this podcast. And really the basis for it was the belief system that the stories that we have within ourselves, whether it's our life and lived experiences, whether it's our passion projects or knowledge that we've just felt led to acquire through our years walking this planet, all of those things matter. And each person's experience is so different. And I started this podcast with the idea of having a platform where people could come together to share their stories. Sometimes listening is an avenue that works for some people, sometimes reading is. And I'm sitting here today with someone really special to me, quite honestly. A few years ago, if you had told me that Adarryl Hunter would be waltzing his way into my life and with the purpose that he came with, I probably wouldn't have believed it. But Adarryl's part of my story, but I invited him on here today to tell his story and share about a really important project that we are coming together. And this is officially the first announcement we're making together. So, Daryl, I'd like to welcome you to the podcast.
Oh, thank you, Heather. Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. We've spent hours and hours conversing together. Now we're actually going to get one down in the books that's going to be spread out for more people to hear. So, why don't we start out with just having you introduce a little bit about yourself so that people know who you are?
Well, grew up in New Orleans, originally born and raised in New Orleans. Well, in fact, mother and father had me when they were in high school. So my aunt who raised me, my dad's older sister, he was living in Houston, going to TSU, Texas Southern
What's
University,
TSU?
Texas Southern University,
Okay, sorry.
which is like our family school. My dad ended up going there. My uncles went there. Her siblings ended up following her there, which a lot of people out of the third ward projects in New Orleans, the Calio projects, they were kind of filtering to TSU in Texas Southern in Houston. And that was going to nursery and first, second, and third grade in Houston. Then we relocated back to New Orleans, fourth or fifth grade year. Then I went the rest of my years in school there. Then I came eventually, but I would spend my summers in Houston.
Sure.
And during that time, playing sports and stuff at the local YMCA, that's when I met George Floyd, and we began a friendship. And then I ended up coming to college at Texas Southern myself once I graduated high school in New Orleans, and friends with a lot of guys that I played the sports with and stuff from the CUNY home. I graduated from Texas Southern, a little street trouble, got into it, but I eventually graduated. Yeah, so that's it in a nutshell. Nice little,
A little nutshell intro.
yeah, a little nutshell intro.
I think it's so right now, where are you located?
At the moment, I'm in Houston,
Okay, so
back in
you've been
Houston.
in
I
Houston.
I've been living in Minnesota, Minneapolis, Floyd. we had a conversation, and then I went first, and then he came about a month after
Okay.
because of our friendship. He was looking for some change. They
Yeah.
needed some change. Yeah, so we ended up in Minneapolis together. We would try to encourage one another, keep each other motivated. A pretty interesting relationship because I think I got a lot of my people skills from him. He got a lot of, let's say, like perspectives or either,
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna say, philosophical type of, not a
Mm-hmm.
philosopher, but I'm saying he would probably exalt me as one to him. Maybe a hood philosophy about
Mm-hmm.
life and things.
Mm-hmm.
Because I always had a way with kind of ability to kind of put some stuff in perspective.
I love that. And you gave some information, some nuggets, basically that New Orleans and Houston have been your home bases. You came back to Minneapolis. You've said George Floyd was a very close friend.
Hmm.
And so let's share a little bit about I can't wait to hear your version of this story because I know I have my own. I want you to share how the two of us first met. And so timeline wise, we officially like I think I first heard your voice back in I want to say December of 22 was the
Yeah.
first time we were introduced. But I just would love let's catch up our listeners because this is about this joint project you and I are doing. What's your story you tell about the two of us meeting?
It was a mutual person we knew
Okay.
that we both had ran into, and I had ran into to this guy was in the barbershop, and I was looking at he had published some financial books,
Yep.
and he called him to because I was trying to get better. I reached out to him based on the information on his publications to try to get better at my finances.
Mm-hmm.
And then me and him just ended up having a conversation about Floyd. And then he was like, well, I may got a few people I know that I can introduce you to.
Mm-hmm.
There may be something maybe can have some type of project come out of it.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I remember being on the phone with him one time, which I admit a couple other people, at least one other person, to try to get the same results. The means to the end was the same, but the people were different, something
Sure.
like that. And so yeah, we. So I don't know if you want me to go further about.
No, no, I mean, no, I can like fill in a little bit because this person we're talking about was someone that I had loosely come into contact with. They were an acquaintance and had some business ideas together. I was fascinated by what they were talking about. And at the end, they're like, I think there's someone I want you to meet. I think you're exactly perfect for this project that we want to do.
Mhm,
And he really didn't give me any background. And all of a sudden, you get on the phone, we're on a conference call, and you start talking about this book that you were considering publishing. And I was just getting close to publishing my first book, my memoir. I did not have a publishing company yet.
mhm,
And all of a sudden, very fast, in a fast action, and it became the three of us thinking about writing a book together and sharing
mhm,
your story.
mhm,
We've had some twists and turns since then. And like now it's just the two of us working together and but I remember when we met and this other person was involved, you had talked about like it had been about 2.5 years since Floyd's murder. And you were one of his very best friends, and people know that. This isn't disputable. And something kept coming up 2.5 years later, and now here we are 2.5 years later after that. And there's been a similar message you've been saying all along. We are publishing a book about your story and your dance
mhm.
with George Floyd. It's what made you decide 2.5 years ago, meeting this gentleman, what made you decide 2.5 years ago that it was time to tell your story? And why hadn't you done it up to that point?
Some of it was well, a lot of it, most of it was I was reluctant or hesitant or didn't want to. For one, I'm not family. I'm not. So yes, family recognized me because I was around them for years, many years. They would see us together, hang together. Sometimes they saw us every day, all day together for many years in a row. Me and Floyd did a lot of stuff together, play basketball, go to the movies, just go to sports events, hang out. We were really confidants like that. So I was protective of my friend, and with all this shenanigans and hoopla and the world responding the way they did, I didn't want to seem like me. They
Mm.
want to be like, well, I'm trying to capitalize. Or, some people even came up somewhere, Seattle, somewhere, somebody came out with a George Floyd weed. People was trying to really capitalize off this thing. We got people
Yeah.
making bags of weed with his face on it. I'm just saying,
Mhm.
just people was coming up with anything, t-shirts, pins, buttons. It was like a whole, you know, people was trying to get a lot of attention, and people were hurt, people in pain. So I felt like Robson just trying to bust up in all of that. It'd be this whole other thing. And then me, I didn't feel like I had anything to try to prove.
Mm.
And I just wanted to kind of focus on the matter at hand, the person or the people involved or whatever. I wanted that to kind of take the center stage and not be some side. I didn't want to be some sideshow and people trying to get information about, I was close to
Mhm.
Floyd. I was protective of him of what may or may not take the focus off of what the judicial process. I wanted the process to go through. I was protective of my friend in the fact that I didn't want to distract from that. I didn't want to
Mhm.
take away from that. And I definitely didn't want to be selfish in that I wanted to lift myself up, get this light to shine on me in the midst of my friend. I was still grieving, I was still,
Mhm.
lost, that type of thing. Yeah. So
I think.
it was more so after some time passed, and then I met
Mhm.
the gentleman. He was kind of putting it on my mind, like, hey, you know what, maybe it might be. And then I started, and even when I was doing the story, giving my parts to his name is George Floyd, book published by the Washington Post.
Mhm.
When I was giving when I was being interviewed for that began to spark some thoughts about possibly one day publishing something. But so then that became like more, I didn't want to take anything anywhere away from that project either.
Mhm.
Because
Mhm.
that was still an important thing to kind of tell his like overarching story, not
Yeah.
like the real detailed specifics, like a day to day. It was like
Mhm.
his train his train his process, his progressions through life, where he was
Sure.
born, where he went to high school, meeting some
Mhm.
people, this and that. But I didn't want to take away from that either, because I was being a part of that. So I feel like that might water it down too. So I just put it on the back burner, thought of it, but just was real protective of the information of what
Mhm.
stories I would have. I was real protective of that.
Mhm. And I hear a couple things in your voice. Number one, love for Floyd, which when we have so much sensationalism over such an important part of history and some people are using it in a less than authentic way, that love doesn't shine through. And not to say that some people who have shared their time, their experiences with Floyd or the fallout of his murder, I'm not minimalizing that, but in the same way I'm willing to say there are people who have definitely tried to make a buck off of him, and maybe they never had once breathed the same air as him.
Remember we were with the mayor,
Right.
Jacob? Yeah, and we were eating lunch that day. Me, you, and him were talking to him. You asked him like what stood out about me. And I just thought I didn't know he was gonna say that. I didn't know he was gonna say, you remember what he said?
I don't. I'm sure I have it in my notes, but please, obviously tell
Yeah.
me.
He said the one thing that stands out about me is that I didn't try to capitalize on him. I would even say as well as I knew Floyd, he would have probably said do it. If anybody,
Yeah.
he probably would have told me, he probably would have encouraged me, because
Yes.
I don't doubt that he wouldn't, not in a way of, he still would have been protective of me, but
Yeah.
I still don't feel like if he would saw an opportunity in there, not like in a malicious way, like
Sure.
not in the way that people kind of did with what we're talking about as it
Yeah.
relates to him, but I think if he would have saw somewhere in there, I think he may have done it sooner, versus later. And that's just me knowing him. But I know he would have did it in a loving, in a way that still where he would have still been mindful to still do it in a good, right way. But I don't doubt
Absolutely.
that he still wouldn't have been, it still wouldn't have raised his eyebrow if he could have saw some type of financial gain for some
Yeah.
opportunity financial gain in the situation. Yeah. So
You know what? I have a few things I need to. Number one, Floyd completely supports this project, and he is right
wait.
here, right now,
Mhm.
and you know that. And those of you that have listened to this podcast know that I am. I may lean to the spiritual side a little bit, and Floyd is here, and he does love you, and and that's the whole point of this book that we're going to dive into too, is that it's a learning opportunity. It is not,
Mhm.
people deserve the opportunity to learn and experience when it is the content is created from organic, authentic place. That is not, and if money comes with it for you because of what
Exactly.
you've gone through, it's not
No,
you are putting his name on a pin and I was his
no,
BFF. And
no.
so,
And I'm
that's
not
not
even
what that's about.
yeah, and I'm not even looking for that. It's just more of like just telling more of the getting to know more about him. It's more like just more intimate of a friendship or
Sure.
seeing the type of friend and type of relationship we had through the me telling my story. Then now he's being involved in my story, which he is a part of my story so much. And we
Absolutely.
traveled together. He went home with me to New Orleans
Yeah.
and family. I mean, in fact, we can. I'm gonna even offer to you that I'm gonna talk to his brother today. And I'll see he'll definitely come on the show, come on your
Sure.
podcast and kind of
Sure.
you can kind of talk to him. Me and him could be on there just to kind of like let people know this is not something that oh I'm trying to I was around Floyd for 1 week and then I'm trying
Yeah.
to make
Yeah.
this whole book. So it's not really like I say, it's not really about it's more about the story. I think people are gonna enjoy the story. I love how you and I
Yeah.
you have taken what you know and learned about me and what I've shared and made it into this story that's told so beautifully. I just can't wait. People, I think people are gonna be excited and thrilled and gonna enjoy the way that the story is told. The fact I just thought it was so creative and it's entertaining, it's funny,
It's real.
it's real, it's outside the box in the sense of
Yeah.
the creativity. I'm gonna say it's really
Mm.
creative the way that the story is told. Like I think people are gonna be taken away, blown away by that.
Let's introduce the book then. What's the title of the book, Adarryl?
I think we came up with Floyd's Baller.
Okay.
Yeah,
So Floyd's Baller. I remember we were sitting in a McDonald's when we
yeah,
came up with that title. Okay.
yeah.
Why is it titled Floyd's Baller?
Well, we had a lot of nicknames for each other. The one he wanted me to have that he wouldn't allow me to call him, even though I would attempt to call, and even in close private settings, and maybe not even I know I'm not supposed to do this, like, but he would frown on me calling him baller, and then so because we would call each other, he called me smaller. We would compete on how many
Yeah.
nicknames or monikers we could come up with for the aller, taller, smaller, crawler, taller, y'all, you know. And it, and it would be, we would get a kick out of how creative we could be with the taller, baller, crawler,
Yeah.
whatever. So there was a song came out in the 90s called Wanna Be a Baller. And
Yeah.
so everybody was just even the Giants football team, when they were going on their championship, another guy from New York made a song, We Stay Fly, You Lie, We Know It. Balling. He was
Oh,
saying
sure.
balling. But
Yeah.
but but
Same
so
concept.
yeah, so balling, baller, wanna be a baller, shot caller. So so I would call him baller sometimes because that was like the main one. We'd say taller, crawler, smaller.
Yeah.
Hey, what's up? What's up, taller? And nothing smaller because he was a tall guy. So Baller just kind of, and when I would call him Baller, he was, no, 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 don't call me that.
That's not
That's
me.
that's you, that's you. So that was a more, and he would broadcast it
Yeah.
when he be on the cell phone. Who you with? That me and Baller over here. So he really pushed the name. He pushed it, and then people would say, "What's up, Baller?" And people got a kick out of it, like it going on as to some guys who probably the name would probably be fitting because of their lifestyle or they
Right.
whatever, whatever. But I don't think it was that. I think it was more so of a spirit. It was a spiritual thing that was he. And
Yeah.
yeah, I qualified in some ways in my life. It's not like
Yeah.
I didn't never ball, but in comparison to guys around the hood or
Yeah.
whatever in life who would be considered they were the definition of a baller.
Yeah.
But I think for me, for him, because Floyd had been around a lot of guys, a lot of people. I think for me it was a little more of a spiritual, I had the spirit of a baller.
Yeah.
Like yeah, so he I don't know. I think that's what it was because I never really had a chance to ask, man, why do you call me?
Yeah.
Why do you call me baller? Whatever. And I wouldn't
And
introduce myself as that. I wouldn't introduce myself as
yeah.
my name, or
Yeah.
a lot of people
Yeah.
call me AD.
Yeah.
Wouldn't introduce myself. Hey, how you doing? My name's Chris. Yeah, I'm Baller. I wouldn't do that.
I'm Heather Wild, and I'm taking a minute to invite you to be a part of the magic created on this podcast, Starting Some Ripples. You know you have a story inside of you just waiting to be told. Maybe you've worked through some tough times, had an earth angel mentor, or just want to share about a curveball life threw your way that truly offered you a pivot. Head to my website, hezimay.com, and submit your story. We'd love to celebrate you, your experience and wisdom, and your willingness to be a part of our Ripple movement. That's hezimay.com. Now, let's get back to our episode. And that kind of rolls into the whole point of the story, too. A couple things I want to say, kind of like getting my publisher hat on and authoring this with you. So the book is about you, right? We want to make sure it wasn't the book to be published where we kind of unpacked Floyd's life like the
Right.
one, his name is George Floyd. That's not it. That's why it's called Floyd's Baller. This is
Yes.
your life. This is
Yes.
your story. And then because of the role Floyd played with you, there was like, he danced in such a way. And so this book really is all those common themes of friendship. It's about coming of age, right? Like the choices that you and Floyd experienced and made, some the same, some different as you kind of grew up into young adulthood. It's about the consequences of our actions. And I think because the story is about you, it is kind of this finding your footing and your place because you really did grow up with a different path than a lot of people that were familiar with the Fifth Ward or the Third Ward. Like you had one foot, you saw black privilege with being aligned with your aunt, and then all of a sudden you also had this foot where you were like, I understand the hood. And so that's really your story. And so it's those are all themes of just like finding yourself and alignment and friendship. That's common themes that anybody can identify with. Your
Mhm.
specifics are your story. And so
Yeah.
as like I think it was, oh my gosh, I bet you it was over a year after we started writing this book. Maybe a little bit more that I got that like download is what I call it, the great idea. And it was like, Floyd wants to narrate this book, right? He wants to tell the story of his best friend, his baller. And the second that download came to me, there's been a couple books. So he tells the story from like this omnipresent view, looking down. He's your biggest cheerleader. He was when he was alive. He is
Definitely.
now in the afterlife.
Definitely.
And so it's such a unique space. He wants your story to be about you and like
You
your
know, what's
dance.
funny that we like I told you, we used to go to the movies a lot, and when you still had to go to the movies,
Yeah.
and or even once we didn't have to go to the movies, we would sit around and watch movies. That was one of our pastimes, watching movies, going to the movies back in the day, going to sports events, football, basketball games, high school basketball games, really anyone, college. So, but when we went to see The Matrix,
Oh,
Floyd would refer to himself as Morpheus. He would call himself Morpheus, and he would tell me I'm Neo. Now, like I said, again with the ball, didn't think of myself in that sort of way, but it was just funny that it was a little inspiring that because Floyd really had a hell of a presence in the neighborhood and every place he would go because of his stature, his size, and
Mhm.
he played sports in the community. So he played on a couple of great all-time great teams for the high school. He was a part of these sports things. So everywhere we go, you can't avoid him because he's so tall and big. So
Mhm.
that would garner a lot of attention. People be wondering who he was or they be know him. And so for him to bestow these type of high profile things on me, and I'm just a guy. It's not that I thought less of myself. I'm confident in myself and my abilities. But I'm saying he would kind of reflect with his personally we in the car together laughing about something that's this and that. But from when we went to see the Matrix, and then he started referring to himself as Morpheus, and Morpheus found the one. So, and
Mm.
he's the Greek god of dreams. Morpheus is the Greek god of dreams. So this is so befitting of him telling the story because he's Morpheus, like he's on this quest to find the one. Okay, but it's like this oxymoron, right? Because he would be like saying something's gonna happen, and I'm like, oh yeah. He would be thinking like, I ain't gonna do. It's gonna be me. It ends up being him, so to speak. Thus far, we don't know what's gonna happen
Right.
tomorrow. Don't tell. So it'd be like for him to be
Right.
Morpheus to find the one. So I'm always on the lookout, and he's following me to Minnesota, thinking that I'm not gonna leave him. I'm not gonna
Right.
leave him behind because he feeling like I'm the one, the
Oh.
Neo. So he follows me there, and then that happens, and then we've had all these conversations about, oh, they gonna know us one day, and this and that, and all this.
Yeah.
And then he becomes the one, like so. It's just like that. All of that plays in my head of these type of conversations. When these murder happen, it's just like, I'm going through all of that in my mind. I'm in this stagnated position, just kind of in observation of all these conversations. I'm like
Mhm.
blown away. Oh, wow. And I'm trying to think of, like, okay, could I have known anything while I was around him? Like, it's
Yeah.
like working with him day to day, like, oh, okay, well, this why the way he was, or this why he treated that situation like this. I'm reminiscing in my head the backlog of all of these events that I've been so close to, or we've been around each other and things that have happened. And like I said, I'm not taking all the friendship away from his other friends. He had other people that he was cool
Sure.
because sometimes I'd be off doing other things. I wasn't with him 24/7 every day. We woke up every day. Yes, sometimes we had some moments like that, but I just still go off and go to college and live my life and do other things
Yeah.
too. So, but yes, in friends, I believe he held me in a certain regard. I don't think he called me Neo, him be Morpheus in comparison to Neo.
Right.
So, but yeah, so that's why I stood out with the creative approach you came up with in reference to download. You downloaded with the
Yeah. I
matrix.
download it.
Yeah, so
Yep.
this is
Yep.
so it's excited about it in the class. Yeah, so all of that, that's what made me, extrapolate to that, which is the download. And I'm like, oh yeah, Morpheus and he's
Yeah.
the Greek god of dreams. So he's like this, you know.
Yeah. Oh, he's so present. He's so present. And so why don't we pivot? So as we're talking about this, again, we've had so many conversations about making this book authentic, making sure that there's no question that you're not doing it for the wrong reasons. I want to honor you, and we're honoring Floyd for his life and then what happened, but it's also the effects that happened to you, and there's so much we can learn from your friendship, your life, his life. But then we chose, again, I think it was after that part about understanding that we needed Floyd to be the narrator, we chose to write this as a young adult novel. I'm a former English and at risk alternative ed educator. And so I've delivered books in the classroom. I taught students on a regular basis how to unpack a piece of history or a piece of text. And when I presented that idea to you that I think this is supposed to be a book to go into the schools, you grabbed it right away. And And so I just kind of want to find out, why do you think that getting something like at this young adult level, not to say that adults can't read it, because that's not a box we put it in, but by saying we are specifically designing this for schools to have a piece of history and learning about all those themes that are important, what's your hope for getting in the schools? And like, why did that resonate with you?
So call me baller or whatever. They've been my friends or people that I've known. I've got the name professor or something like that, like
Oh, yeah.
And so I'm a teacher by not a teacher by trade, like I didn't go to school to be an educator, but I think it's something that comes with ease for me to be able to take something complex and be able to present it in a manner that is easily received. And a lot of people call me for, yeah, I thought about something, I was struggling with this, and I thought about you to bounce this off of. I'm one of those type of friends. People call me to kind of like tell me this scenario or something, and they just
Yeah,
kind of
yeah.
look into it and
Thinking
be
that
like,
you
hey,
have, yeah, you have some feedback or you have some mentoring that they can accept.
you could give them some perspective or some
Yeah.
fresh looking at something that maybe shifts a paradigm for them possibly, and they approach in the situation. So I kind of been told that before even the book. And let me add in there that that was a challenge for me thinking about telling the story too, which I wasn't thinking of telling the story about me. I was thinking of telling the story about him, which had already been done or is being done or whatever. Like, and so the overlap and interweave both of our stories of like his involvement with my story, that was like that helped me be able to come with be more confident in telling my story with him being in it, and instead of me trying to tell his story.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So it's just a story of our friendship, and I don't want to give too much of it away, but it's juicy parts in there that people gonna want to know, and it's entertaining. I feel like it's entertaining, it's educational.
Yeah.
It will hold your attention all the way through, and you'll come out of it like with some fresh perspectives and fresh
Yeah.
knowings of him and me
Yeah.
and our friendship and friendship in general, loyalty,
Yeah.
some of the powers that be, how they affect the world and this and that. It's not a right or wrong. It's just the way it is. Yeah, but the teaching part, going to the and I'm trying to pivot in my life to go towards helping more of the youth, and that was a big part of Floyd's life. He loved to coach and help mentor, and we love to do that. There's a great chance to try to give back to the future by my and his story intertwined and helping some of the students in the next generation kind of navigate some of these dilemmas that life can present when they're going through that time of their life.
Oh, that's ageless and timeless and cultureless, right? We
Mhm.
all we all have a coming of age moment where we're making choices. We see the consequences of our choices, and whether they're good or bad. We have friendships that play a role in our choices.
Mhm.
And not only that, but there's loss in our throughout our lives sometimes, and there's hurts, and we make choices based on that. And so I really believe that Floyd had his hand in lining you and I up, and I have always believed this story was about you. Back when we first met, back in 22, 23, I remember walking away talking to you saying, this is not going the right direction. This is not about you. I just felt it was like getting a little too sensational as we rounded
Mhm.
close to 3 years of George's murder. And I knew, I'm like, I was willing to walk away until I knew that you could see this story needed to be about you. It
Mm.
is about you. And I know that that's been this, and I know that Floyd coming up, and you've always said he was your cheerleader. And so for him to narrate the story gave you what you needed to feel that confidence. Oh, it's so freaking engaging. I mean, who doesn't want to hear a story told by George Floyd? And not only that, I think I've already decided, I haven't told you, but I think you should narrate this book, because I know who Floyd is based on your ability to impersonate him. Like
Mhm.
you become Floyd every time you talk about memories. Yeah, there's that grin. Like you need to be like a public speaker because you could come on. You know him so well. Like he comes to life through you. And so
Mm.
how beautiful is it that you're coming together to tell you're telling each other's stories is really ultimately what it is. And so, as of right now, the manuscript rough draft is needing some editing, but we know it's time to share that it's coming. The target time to launch it is during Black History Month, which is February. And so by
Mhm.
2026, I think we'll have a cover design to throw out with people by the end of summer. How does it feel? I think we're kind of getting to the end of our talk here because you're right. We don't
Well,
want to give away too much.
yeah, I want to say that going back to the teaching thing, because
Oh, yeah.
my aunt Rhonda, and I'm trying to find platforms that I can become more of a teacher. Even when you were talking about me creating some stuff, because we always bounce the creativity off each other. We
Hmm.
kind of collaborate as good creators together,
Yeah.
creativity. But I thought it was pretty interesting that we didn't coordinate what we were wearing
I know.
because I have a like a little I have a thing that I kind of one of my little mantras is we live in a black and white world.
Mm.
The book is in black and white. I'm black, you're white. It's just, but it's the gray that matters.
Mm.
It's the gray that matters because the gray matter is the cerebral thinking. So even though they have other nationalities, other
Yeah.
peoples of other shades of skin, but that's just something because a lot of print is in black and white, like a lot of publications. Typically, it's black and white. The font is black, the pages are white, and that's been for some time. Like that's a medium, the way that information is shared. But then the gray matter has to process that and internalize it. And it's like, and I just always thought that was like an interesting thing that kind of tells me that even though black and white, that's figuratively speaking, like it's either this or that, but it's the mixture of the thing or the process or the perspective. You have to thing is like up, down. Things can be
Yeah.
so obsolete, but it's the ability to kind of mix it all in. You know, I'm from New Orleans. People eat gumbo down there. Gumbo is just this
Yeah.
collage or this collection of just sausage, shrimp, chicken,
Yeah.
crab, rice. I'm just saying. So it's like this gumbo of all of these things, and then you present it into this way, but then the digester or the reader or the person that's taking in the content, they have to be able to it can help them with their grade matter, like not their perspectives there, because you have all this, you got
Mhm.
people on this side, you got people on this side,
Yeah.
you got people on that side.
Yeah.
It just helps people form their own. It's that teaching tool or resource that helps people kind of move forward
Mhm.
or day to day people take in content to try to help them evolve. And we're just trying to put something like that in the universe that is from a loving, caring, friendship, creative, all those things. And I'm confident that a lot of people will benefit from from reading
Yeah.
this work. Yeah. So.
Thanks for sharing that. And I feel because I was talking about we have evolved since we met. We met in December 22.
Mhm,
You think
mhm,
of our evolution as humans and our friendship in that 2.5 years. And I was talking about you and your comfort of making the book about you, right? And
mhm,
and
mhm,
I think I have to offer some of my energy on my evolution is that I have really been tentative with my belonging in this book because I am the white girl from the Midwest
mhm,
who grew up in a Northern Baptist church. And I have brought that to your attention too of like, how do I fit here? And why me? And does I don't want to like discredit this story. And that's been my evolution and dealings to try and believe that this is where I need to believe, just like you believe that you're supposed to be this person in this book. And I remember not too long ago, it was a handful of months ago, you finally gave me an explanation or an answer, kind of like when you referred to Jacob Fry, him giving you the answer during our lunch that we had. I brought this up to you again. I'm like, here I am, white girl from the Midwest. And I remember what you said to me was, it has to be that way. Like, it has to be that way because if you had chosen a Black author to saddle up next to do this, number one, the creative energy would have been different because you
Right.
and I have a unique creative energy. But then it's also about trying to give the opportunity to say, we can be different and have the same purpose and come together. And I don't have to be Black in order to show up and see you in your story and tell,
Right.
right? But that was
But
hard for me. Like,
yeah,
it was hard for me to believe that I belonged there. It was really hard for me.
I look at it like Rick Rubin, the producer. That remember him and Run DMC. He produced some of Run DMC songs. One of the big ones, "Walk This Way." Walk
Oh,
this
yeah,
way,
yeah,
talk this way. Yeah, Rick Rubin, the guy with the big beard.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
he musically produced that track for Run DMC. I'm just
Oh,
saying, so you like a
sure.
rock star, you're a rock star, so that transcends color.
Yeah, it
That
does.
transcends color. So creativity and collaboration, especially with work such as this, and the beauty in which you're able to. I thought it was providential. You made me feel like telling it. You inspired me to tell it. Like before, I wasn't even feeling it. I kind of started getting a little bit of thoughts in it, but when I met you and the way that you can write and communicate and your talent and creativity, I just knew it. I just knew it. It was
Mm,
providential. Like the way we met, the way, yeah, then once we got to talking, and in fact, we were working, you offered to help me on another project that we still kind of is still in the works. That has to do with something way other else. But then when I read your book, memoir, I saw your writing style and then some of the conversations we had in the inputs, and you were willing to help me with something that didn't even have to do with this.
yeah.
All of those things just told me so much about you, and I just come to
Oh,
grow and appreciate you as a person and
yeah.
author and writer. And yeah, so it just and English was always my best subject. That was always
Mhm.
my best subject. Well, it came easy to.
Sure.
So I say one of my best subjects because it came so easy to me. But so I admired my English teachers in high school. Like the two English teachers I had, they kind of polished and refine my raw ability
Sure.
in the English. As I wasn't always good with punctuation and grammar, but the far as the telling of the layout of the font,
Foundation.
the
Yeah, the
foundation,
thoughts.
yeah,
Hmm.
I was killer at that, but the grammar I always struggled. Yeah, but yeah. So that was an area a lot left a lot to be desired. So I wasn't always perfect at that. I've gotten better, but I'm saying the grammar and type of stuff. But but the general telling of the story or writing, the content was always, I thought, in my own opinion, great. Yes. But just
uh,
yeah, so
it was
just
that humbleness.
it felt right
Yeah.
when we connected and we it was like that synergistic. Yeah. I'm excited.
Thank you. I am too. It's just been what a freaking journey. Yeah, I mean, really, I mean, it's such a beautiful project, and it's just been kind of on the. It's just for the audience to know as we kind of wrap this up. Like, this isn't something that Daryl and I have been like since January 23. We're like, we're doing this, and we got schedules, and we're gonna like. This has been this like gentle one step forward, one step back, two steps forward. It's been this
Mhm.
dance. It just
Mhm.
has. And I think now where we are with the political climate and what's needed in our high schools and just the beauty of this book, I think I'm beginning to more clearly see why it didn't come out in January
Mhm.
23. It didn't come
Mhm.
out in 24, and it's not going to come out in 25. It's going to come out the beginning of 26. And I think I see why now. Like, it's going to come out when it's supposed to come out. And Floyd's ready. He's so damn ready. Did I tell you? I think I told you that he gave me a nickname too.
What was it? I think you told me. I can't remember what it was though.
I got this as a download too. I don't know. I was driving down to the cities, I think, to see you to do some work, and Floyd just jumps in my head. He's calling me Lady Boss.
Yeah, Lady Boss. Yeah. I think that's befitting. I could see him saying that. I saw him in mine. Lady boss, lady boss. Yeah, yeah.
Oh my
I, I,
God.
I just see him kind of, yeah. Yeah, he'll do something like that. He'll do something like
Oh God.
that.
Adarryl Floyd, as I know him through you, which is means I love you. And so I am like, this is a big moment for me because this is the first time we're going to share this publicly. Like, it's been out there 2.5 years. It's in my head. It's been my heart. And so this is big. And I mean, I'm ready. I'm ready. I'm ready with you. No matter what it's going to be, if you build it, they will come.
Mhm,
Like, like I'm a small indie publisher, but I have one hell of a heart and soul
mhm,
invested in this and in you.
mhm,
And again, this book isn't based on results. It's about getting the light out there and making it available
mhm.
and getting it into high schools too is really ultimately. So Adarryl AD Baller, thank you for sharing this space. This has been an absolute delight.
Appreciate you having me on. I appreciate you
I'm
connecting and
sure.
keep furthering the cause and keeping the flames fanned under the project. I appreciate you.
Yeah. And so what we'll
That's so
do.
bossy. That's so bossy of you.
I got my boss lady energy going. Yeah,
Yes.
my lady
Uh,
boss. I know.
yeah.
I think it's going to be a real fun ride getting us to February and beyond. And I'm sure we'll be sharing more nuggets. So for people that are interested in knowing more about Floyd's Baller, I recommend you stay connected to Hezi May, which is my publishing company, where I'll put as many updates as possible on social media. But just know it's coming, and we're here to make some waves, like big waves, like tsunami size. We're not here for a ripple anymore. So, Daryl, you're amazing. God bless, and
All right.
we'll chat soon. All right,
Hey, talk to you soon. Great. Thanks for having me on.
you betcha. And that concludes this episode from Startin' Some Ripples, sponsored by Hezi May Book Publishing, where we believe every single story matters. If you feel called to share yours, whether to be a part of this podcast or maybe you feel you have a book inside of you, we're here to support your storytelling and publishing journey. Visit hezimay.com to explore how we can help you bring your story to life. Remember, we aren't doctors or fortune tellers, just humans sharing our perspective. Any advice we offer is purely for inspiration and support. Thanks so much for listening, and we look forward to sharing space with you again real soon.